Hello, Capricorn, and welcome to Bohemian Path Tarot. I am Jen, and I am doing year ahead tarot readings in 2024, and I'm using the Star Seeker Tarot today. I got this one on Etsy, and for what it's worth, I don't get any kickback. I just think you might like to know that. If you're interested in tarot, you might be interested in tarot decks. So, in all seriousness, Capricorn, I am going to take a moment to focus on your energies, to focus on what's ahead for you, your sort of forecast or what's coming towards you in 2024. I'm going to give the deck a good shuffle, and I will meet you on the other side of the shuffle. Okay, Capricorn, I'm going to lay out a Celtic cross spread, and we'll see what you've got. Page of Swords is where we find you. The Lovers is in the challenge position. The Foundation is the Ten of Swords. In the recent past is the Wheel of Fortune. General kind of vibe or overview for 2024 is the High Priestess. In the upcoming events, we have the Knight of Swords. In the advice category, we have Judgment. In the environment, we have the Sun. In the hopes and fears, we have Three of Cups. And the final outcome is the Knight of Cups. Let's see. Okay. I always have to check to make sure you can see all these things. I apologize for the glare. We'll go card by card and we'll take a closer look at the images on each of these. So we start with the Page of Swords, and I read pages rather than a person or a character, a person in your life. I read pages as a time of like self-education, a time of excitement where new skills are being built, where new skills are being sought. So the Page of Swords covers that communication piece. Swords are all about communication and sharing your ideas, sharing your philosophies, being clear and discerning, putting things in writing, identifying terms, reading the small print, that sort of thing. I think for some of you, this might be, you might have had a year where you worked on like maybe your social media, where you got really involved in TikTok or Instagram or something like that, or got better at it or looking to get better at it. For some of you, this could literally be writing. Like if you're interested in, being a playwright or writing the great American novel, or, if you're not in America, whatever mode of storytelling is popular in your place, in your neck of the woods. So this is where we find you. But what is kind of in the challenge position is the Lover's card. These two things are actually quite related. I experience the Lovers as that piece where you are negotiating terms in a relationship. When you have to make a choice in relationships about who brings out the best in you, what you need to really feel seen and heard and valued in relationships. Now, this could be romantic. Most people do read the Lover's card as, an indicator of romance. But I see this happen with friend groups, with your family members, with even your job, just kind of setting terms so that you can be your best self within the context of whatever relationship we're talking about. I don't know if you've ever been in a relationship with somebody where like they set all the activities, it's always their call, it's always on their schedule, because if it isn't about them, like they really can't make it happen, or they don't show up, or they aren't involved, and that's obviously not a great friend for most people. The Lovers really indicates a time when working on asking for what you need, being clear about who you are and what you need within the context of relationships, and negotiating those things. So it's interesting that this crosses this very communication oriented card. It could be we find you in a place where you're realizing a relationship or relationships have not provided you fair reciprocity, where you haven't been getting what you need, or you haven't, felt free to be yourself because you have to tiptoe around the needs of somebody else. So this seems to be kind of the crux of the matter, or kind of what's at hand. In the foundation, we have the Ten of Swords, which isn't a super happy looking card. But of course, with tens, we see endings very often and new beginnings. Tens are often that liminal space, right? Where something has closed, a chapter or a cycle has closed out. It could be like maybe a job has ended, or you're done with school, or you're retiring, or you break up with somebody, something like that. But within that, there's a new chapter on the horizon. It has to be. So like when you retire, that isn't the end of you. That's just the end of your career, and you go on and you develop some hobbies, or you spend more time with your grandkids, or whatever it is. And that becomes, a whole new lifestyle with routines and schedules and, that sort of thing. So even though this isn't a pleasant looking card, it does indicate that a new, productive, or happier cycle is on the horizon. So the fact that it's in your foundation position here, after this sort of focus, or sort of building on this focus to set terms within relationships to be more truly who you are, and building better communication skills within relationships, or standing up for yourself in relationships, or at work, or when negotiating contracts, that sort of thing. Because something here didn't go right, and you ended, and you want to ensure that you don't have to feel this kind of dramatic ending again. In the recent past, we have the Wheel of Fortune, which indicates a change of circumstances. Again, like I had mentioned, this could be a retirement, or, the graduating school, or the end of something. This supports that sort of change in circumstances. And oftentimes it's a positive change, even though you're aware of the change, and it feels like a little scary, or, definitely different, or alien, or how what am I going to do in this new phase? It's unfamiliar territory, but it is a positive change. It means you've reached a milestone, or you've reached a goal, or you've gotten over a hump, so to speak. You've gotten through a challenging time, and now we're in a more positive, beneficial place. The fact that this is in your recent past indicates that this shift or change has occurred, and we're moving into more interesting, if slightly alien territory. The kind of general vibe or the overview for 2024 is the High Priestess. And with the High Priestess, we have someone who is very wise, who has sort of arcane knowledge or wisdom gained through not only books and mentors, but through direct personal experience. Sometimes there's the element of wisdom gained through other sources, like maybe meditation, tarot cards, or even directly reaching out to ancestors or spirit guides, that sort of thing. This suggests kind of that coming up in 2024, you're going to be focusing more on a healing, sort of wise woman phase. Maybe some of you are stepping into a crone phase, or, maybe this change is menopause or something, and you're moving into a phase where you've learned a lot. You've been through some stuff, and you have wisdom to share with the younger generations. You have healing to provide. This could be, stepping out and starting a tarot YouTube channel or doing Reiki on TikTok. This could be more directly healing or conventional healing by going back to nursing school and finishing that license, or getting an advanced degree in healing or counseling, or that kind of a thing. But this looks like, because it's in the overview, this isn't like a quick, immediate, okay, now I'm a this. This is kind of the journey, the sort of the journey that you're taking on through 2024. So in kind of the upcoming events, we have the Knight of Swords. I don't read knights as actual people. I read knights as action, as steps you can take, things you can do in your world. And frankly, he's very much related. I'm just using, conventional pronouns here, just for convenience. But he, she, or they, this character is related to the Page of Swords in that they're all about communication. But whereas the page is about learning, is about education, is about trying new things, is about getting excited, about speaking, sharing your truth, building your brand, negotiating, sticking up for yourself in relationships or sticking up for yourself at work. This is the more active, direct version of that. He or they have already learned, this character has already learned what they need to know to move forward, to brand themselves, to put out their resume if they're looking for a new job, or communicate with friends who are inside a company that they want to work at, or something like that. This character is sending out resumes, is sending out emails, is refining their, creating content to have in a bank to regularly schedule their content releases, that sort of thing. Swords could also be about, there's a piece that's about discernment, which goes along with like justice or laws or contracts. So there could be this character is setting, asking for a new contract, is directly negotiating and comfortable negotiating, where this character is learning and recognizing a need for sticking up for themselves or asking for what they want. This is the character that is doing it, that is sticking up for themselves, that is setting terms in their relationships, or that is requiring things to be put in writing, or making sure they read the fine print, or even taking someone to court. This could also be someone who goes into law school or starts, has graduated from law school and starts their law career. This could be someone actively joining the police academy, or even completing the police academy and beginning a career in law enforcement in that way. Wow. Okay. So, what we have here in the advice position is judgment. Judgment is asking us, let's see this. Okay. Judgment is asking us to accept ourselves, to forgive ourselves. If we haven't been so great at sticking up for ourselves in relationships, if things have gone hinky, or we've experienced a loss because we didn't know what to say, or we weren't honest or straightforward or clear with other people, or even with ourselves, judgment asks us to forgive ourselves for what we didn't know, to accept ourselves for where we've landed, that everything that we've done in the past makes us the beautiful, awesome, amazing person that we are, and we are good enough. And I don't know if any of you that are watching this are old enough to remember that character that Al Franken did on SNL, I'm good enough, I'm strong enough, I'm pretty enough. You know what I'm talking about. But there's power in that, in forgiving yourself, in accepting yourself. And that goes along with being able to negotiate for yourself. You kind of have to know yourself. You have to be truthful with yourself about who you are and what you need. So that's the advice. Forgiving yourself, knowing yourself, sharing yourself. That the true, warts and all, or no makeup and all, no bra and all, or if it's time to open up about your sexuality or something like that, this is the advice. So in the general environment, we have the sun, which is interesting because the sun is a very happy card. It's a very positive, it's a victory card where things kind of flow along easily, where maybe you have a job that just kind of you're perfectly suited for, or even if it's a 9 to 5, you don't hate the commute, you don't hate the duties, you like the people you work with, that sort of thing. In relationships, there's a flow, there's an ease, there's an openness. This is a very positive card to have, anywhere in your reading. But the fact that it's in your environment, it really suggests to me that 2024 might be one of your more favorite years, that things kind of come together for you, where things are just easy. It's like having all green lights. It doesn't mean that you don't have to work, but it's that you don't make as many errors when you're learning new skills. It means finding your tribe, finding the people or the organizations, the clubs, like-minded groups, even making romantic connections if that's something you're looking for. There's just more. It's just easier to do stuff or to receive or manifest the stuff that you take action towards, as opposed to having to reinvent the wheel every time. Or I'll give you a dumb example. Every time I tape, these readings, I fight with my audio. In fact, I'm hoping you're hearing me right now, because I recorded Aries without any audio at all, and then I had to go back and redo it. And every time I have taped a bunch of these. I've had many days where I've set up this little setup, and every time I fight with something, every time I have to reinvent something or fix something or improve something or remind myself how I did it last time. And it's always a struggle, so that I always have to take a moment before I actually start doing readings, because I get a little frustrated with the effort that it takes to just do something I do all the time. So the sun is the opposite of that. It's where you don't have to fight to do the thing, where you don't have to struggle, where there's green lights. You're still taking action. You still have to do the thing or move towards what you want. But it's just it's less conflict or less speed bumps. Things just go smoothly. In the hopes and fears category, we have the Three of Cups. It's an interesting card to have here in your hopes and fears. I think what this is referring to, because the Three of Cups is a card of celebrations, about having a tribe and feeling connected, and being able to hang with your besties and have girls' nights or celebrate wins, or, that sort of thing. I think that this card being in your hopes and fears category suggests maybe a fear of missing out. Maybe being afraid that while you're working on some of these other things, or setting up some contracts or renegotiating, or, even building your Reiki TikTok channel, or whatever it is that you're working on. As easy as it is, there may be a fear that this effort or this focus is taking you away from some other things that are important to you. And I just want to reassure you, that's a fear. That's this card falling in the hopes and fears category suggests this is not your truth. This is not your forecast. This is a thing that your mind is putting in your way. The fear of missing out is not a truth for you this year. You may be working and you may be putting stuff together, or dealing with this sort of new circumstance or new phase of life, but there's still plenty of fun ahead. In fact, the final outcome with the Knight of Cups, can we see this? As you remember, I indicated with this character that I read Knights as action you can take. So this is about taking action towards building connections, like asking your friends out, hosting parties, setting up your dating profile if you're looking for a relationship, and asking people out, or swiping right, I guess it is. Whatever. I don't know. I should learn, though. But it's the action you take towards making those connections that ensure that this fear of missing out is just a misplaced concern. Also with cups, there's a relationship to this sort of wise woman calling on your ancestors, bathing under the moon, sort of spiritual peace, healing peace that comes along with this night. It's the active part of manifestation, even though we often think of manifestation as just kind of sitting there and like looking at candles or looking at the moon or focusing on what we want. There's always an action piece, right? Like you also have to take the steps in the real world. Just because you light a candle doesn't and focus on relationships doesn't mean the person of your dreams knocks on your door with a bouquet of flowers, right? You have to put yourself on the app and be charming and flirt with some people and maybe even be ghosted, although you're not going to be ghosted very much because ease. Anyway, my point is, the Knight of Cups also indicates a time when you're active about making connections with your spiritual life. This could be finding a new spiritual community of like-minded people, going back to church if that's your thing. This could be working more directly or consciously with guides or ancestors if that reverberates with you. But it's an active piece. We do see we do see learning with this, and we do see putting that education or those realizations, that wisdom gained into action. Wow, that's really lovely. I'm just taking a moment to see if there's anything else I want to mention here. I think we got it all. I think we got it all. So starting from a place where there's an awareness of a need to get better at maybe standing up for yourself or negotiating your space in relationships or your needs in relationships, whether they're romantic, platonic, work related, and or all of the above, building on a sort of a change of lifestyle or a change of circumstances, moving out of a liminal space or from an ending, and a milestone or a life, I don't know, a milestone achieved, into a place of using your wisdom more, using your healing more, sharing that with others, forgiving yourself for maybe not getting everything right or knowing everything, but trusting that you're exactly who you need to be in this moment, in this year right now. Feeling a little more ease as you move through life and implement these new skills and changes and actions. You'll still have friends to laugh and enjoy and hang out with, especially when you're issuing invitations, reaching out to your friends in this world and maybe your friends in the next world. Capricorn, I hope that gives you some comfort, some inspiration for the new year. I hope this reverberates with you. In any case, take good care and Happy New Year. Thanks for stopping by.